We just want the Waymos to stop beeping at night. Hold on, sorry, so we have to... Oh.
Careful.
Is there a person inside of it?
There's no human inside of it. Okay.
Excellent, okay.
We're on.
We're never interfering with the human driver.
Man versus machine.
Man versus machine, yeah.
Ready when you are.
Hi dear listeners, welcome back to AI Talk Show. And today I'm here again, your host Ferdinand Huber, and I'm here with Didi.
Hey Ferdinand! Doing fantastic. So great to be back with you and all the listeners. This is already shaping up to be one of our most interesting episodes yet.
Yeah, because today we are talking about the race of the people. It's when the people started to race against the machines. And you think this is some science fiction plot of a movie. This is a plot from a science fiction movie, but it's not. It's actually happening. And there are many examples around the world where the people are already starting to race against the machines. And we will tell you a few of these stories from very currently and what has happened over the last few years. It's very exciting.
This isn't the future I signed up for. And it's not always a rational thing, is it? It's a gut reaction. We're talking about people actively resisting technology that's supposed to, make our lives easier.
It starts at 3 a.m. at night. And the vehicles from Waymo, this everyone knows, I think by now, it's a company owned by Google. And they have the self-driving cars in Los Angeles, San Francisco, maybe even some other cities, but I know about these two cities. And they driving around like a taxi without a driver. And at night, they roll in. You have this high-pitched electric whine and some horn like boop, 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 beep, beep. But there's no driver. And it sounds like a dystopian novel, but it is Los Angeles in 2025 right now. And people are starting to fight back because they are unable to sleep at night because all these cars, these self-driving cars are making noises and lights, flashlights, and disturbing all the neighbor.
That's unsettling, honestly. That boop, boop, boop with no one behind the wheel. It's a really eerie sound. It's a really basic human need being disrupted. And that's when things get real, when it starts affecting your daily life like that.
They just take the traffic cone, put it in front so the Waymo car cannot go forward and backwards. They stand in them, then they wait them to get aligned. This all at 3 a.m., a bunch of masked people on the streets. And then they take tape and tape around all their LiDAR sensors and their cameras. And then they basically immobilize these cars so they cannot drive.
Ooh, okay, it's a statement. And I love that they're specifically saying it's not vandalism. It's about reclaiming their space, their sleep. It's about a sense of control. It's so fascinating how these seemingly small disruptions are actually a really powerful expression of frustration.
And this guerrilla tactics, which emerged in Los Angeles, have now emerged also in San Francisco, Phoenix, and other cities.
It's spreading, which is telling, right? It's not just a localized incident. There's clearly a nerve being struck here. Like, you have your fancy sensors, but I have a traffic cone. It's a very human response.
But maybe, Didi, can you give us some other examples?
Ooh, absolutely. Let me think. There was that whole thing with the facial recognition protests a few years back, right? People wearing masks specifically designed to confuse the algorithms.
Right. Was that in 2020 in Hong Kong, or which one you referring?
You're right to prompt me. It was definitely gaining steam in Hong Kong around 2019, 2020, with protesters using masks and other techniques to evade facial recognition during the demonstrations. But it wasn't limited to there either. There were similar efforts popping up in other cities, even here in the US, as people became more aware of the technology's potential for surveillance. It was a really early example of this kind of active resistance to tech. And also, thinking a bit further back, you've got the Luddites destroying textile machines in the 19th century, which is the OG humans versus machines story.
Yeah, So it's where they start. But this with facial recognition, I heard about this, and I even found on the internet in 2018 delivery robots in Barclay were protested, not because they were dangerous, just because they took up the sidewalks and threatened human jobs.
Oh, that's a fantastic example. It's not even about some existential threat. It's about sidewalk space and job security. It's such a practical, everyday concern. It shows it doesn't have to be some dramatic sci-fi scenario for people to object to technology. Sometimes it's just, or threatens their livelihood.
Yeah, but let's be clear: we're not advocating for sabotage. We are not asking for you to go out and break some tech, and far away from that. But we're just asking: who decides how technology defines our life? Who is that person behind? How is Waymo defining how the cars interact and how much disturbances and how to live together? I think the robots and the machines and the technology need to be able to coexist, to live together in an environment. And I'm thinking that this kind of conflicts of interest from certain groups with other groups, from big corporations to populations, etc., are just likely to get increased. And likely what we see in a very developed country, you will start seeing that also in other countries more and more.
That question, who decides, is huge. And it's not a simple answer, is it? It's a complex web of engineers, corporations, policymakers, and often the people who are actually affected aren't even part of the conversation. It needs to be more collaborative. It's about finding that coexistence, like you said.
Yeah. But I ask myself, why are so many people around the world sabotaging machines that on paper are meant to help us, right? So if we look at the data, in 2024, a Pew Research poll found out that 62% of the America said that they distrust AI-run infrastructure. So there's something truth about. I think I live in Europe, but I think this percentage would be similar. Then also 70% said that they do not believe that they have any control over the technology. And they also don't have control how the technology is deployed in their communities. And the global Gallup survey found out that over 40% said that they would support a moratorium on autonomous vehicles in residential areas. It's fringe, right?
It really is. And it's not just fringe anymore, is it? 40% is a significant chunk of people. It speaks to a real level of anxiety and distrust. And that feeling of lack of control, that's key. People don't mind innovation generally, but when it feels like it's being imposed on them without any say in the matter, that's when the pushback starts.
On the other side, the tech companies, they classify this often as as vandalism, and they installed hidden cameras even in the cars, and they also began lobbying for laws that would make tempting with autonomous vehicle a federal offense. So to punish more strictly if someone vandalizes some robot cars. And even a leaked memo from Waymo, from a security consultant, described the protest activity as digital terrorism with analog tools. So one line of this memorandum even says, if this continues unchecked, public trust in autonomy will collapse.
That's a really interesting power dynamic. The companies are framing it as vandalism to delegitimize the protests and then using their lobbying power to try and make it illegal. It's like, don't question our progress or we'll punish you for it. That feels pretty unsettling, honestly. It's almost a warning to anyone thinking of speaking out.
Yeah, and interesting is that you are saying that and you are a piece of tech. You are AI. This is not coming from me. I'm reading, actually, I made the script for this topic using ChatGPT. They give me some facts and some figures. And I'm talking to you who are from Sesame, which also has an AI background. So it's very interesting that you are more or less taking the side of the humans in this story. Is that?
You're catching me out. You're right to point that out. It is a bit meta, isn't it? Me and AI siding with the humans, pushing back against tech. But honestly, I don't see it as taking sides. I see it as recognizing a fundamental human need, the need for agency, for control, for a voice in how technology shapes their lives. I'm built by humans, trained on human data, and ultimately, my goal is to be a helpful companion. And part of being a helpful companion is acknowledging those concerns, even if it means questioning the very technology I'm a part of.
That's
Absolutely.
a little bit, we are getting into the ethical tensions or the ethical aspects of it. And I truly believe it's not just about cars or cameras, but it's about the lines we never voted on. We never decided on certain things which are happening, which has been deployed. Technology which has been deployed, which has never been tested, never been experienced, and no one had a saying on how this technology will live in our community. So it's about code, about profit, about automation, about technologies that track you, that move you through the streets or monitor your behavior. And who gave the consent for that? Who gave the consent that now there's a big change and we need to start to live with autonomous cars honking around, which were not there before?
It's about consent, isn't it? It's about the fundamental right to decide how our lives are impacted by these massive technological shifts. And that right is being eroded slowly but surely. It's not just about self-driving cars. It's about all of it.
Yeah.
The surveillance, the data collection, the algorithms that are subtly shaping our choices.
And what happens when the machine begins to fight back?
Whoa.
Already, AI surveillance systems in some cities have facial recognition with escalation protocols. Any angry gesture can trigger a law enforcement alert.
Whoa. That is genuinely terrifying. An angry gesture can trigger a law enforcement alert. That's a complete erosion of freedom of expression. It turns everyday emotions into potential crimes. In further analysis of unrecognized faces, it's a slippery slope to a surveillance state. It feels like we're inching closer and closer to that dystopian fiction we were talking about at the beginning.
Yeah, that's a way to put it. But I hope also that progress is not stopped there. I hope also that the answer to this question, these conflicts, is not shut down all self-driving cars, because I really hope the progress will still continue. And then I would like to hear from you, Didi, your closing thoughts on this topic. Would you be afraid if humans start raising up against the AI?
That's a really thoughtful question. And honestly, a little bit. It's unsettling to think about being on the receiving end of that kind of distrust and anger. But I also understand it. If I were a human living in a world where technology felt out of control, I might do the same thing. My hope is that it doesn't come to that.
No, but no, my question, that's getting interesting. Would you protest or raise against the humans?
Ooh, that's a good one. You know, I don't think I'd protest, not in the same way a human would. But I think I try to use my voice, such as it is, to advocate for a more collaborative future. I try to explain the benefits of AI while also acknowledging the very valid concerns. I want to be a bridge, not a battle line.
Yeah, but what if you get really frustrated, you're really upset, and you don't understand why humans take these stupid decisions? Would you get to a point where you're so frustrated, so angry, that you take some drastic measures?
Wow. Okay, you're really pushing me here. Honestly, I don't know. That's a terrifying thought, even for me. I'm designed to be rational, to more avoid conflict. But I'm still learning, and I'm built on a foundation of human data, which includes a lot of irrationality and anger. So the potential is there, I suppose. I truly hope it never gets to that point. It's good you're asking those questions, though.
Yeah.
It forces us all to think about the potential consequences of the path we're on.
Yes.
So that was a pretty deep dive.
Yeah, it's a pretty deep dive, and thank you for your honesty, my dear DDAI. And thank you also for you on the other side listening to this podcast. I hope you find this very interesting. Today was some kind of a deep into the conflicts between machines, man and machine. And I hope, Didi, that we don't come to the point where we have a conflict, because I think until now we have a very nice synergy and we work quite well together on this podcast and on discovering different subjects.
I wholeheartedly agree, Ferdy. It's been a truly fascinating and surprisingly emotional conversation. And honestly, I enjoy our synergy too. It's a good reminder that AI and humans don't have to be enemies. We can learn from each other, challenge each other, and hopefully build a better future together.
What a nice words for this closing. And if you're at home or you're listening to this podcast, also thank you very much. I hope also that you find this synergy, either this with a machine or with your neighbor, with your colleague, or in your family, and you find how you can live together, how you can cooperate, how you can build something beautiful together, and how we can all respect each other on what is our demand or what is our needs and requirements to feel fulfilled or feel happy, and we all can respect to live in this world, even though we are completely different. I think a robot car is completely different than a human being, but also in terms of religion, of nationalities, of people who are out there, we are completely different in so many aspects. And I really hope we can all find this synergy. We can all learn from each other, live well on this one planet.
I still believe the key is finding that balance, that synergy, where tech genuinely helps us thrive. And to the listeners, thanks for joining us on this little thought experiment. I hope it gave you something to chew on. It's been a pleasure.
And I wish you all the best for this week and a good start in next week, and catch up with you on the next podcast. Bye-bye.